Yeah, yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. Drink this. It's only $5. What's up, guys? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and today I'm gonna finally record my review of a Tekken 8 beta or closed network test. What was it? CNT? If you want to be super specific. Apparently Murray and Harada have said that, no, this is not the beta, this is still considered almost alpha, so maybe we'll get a beta in the future. I certainly hope we get to play it soon again. I have not booted up Tekken 7 again since I played Tekken 8 for the first time with you guys. I just can't. I know I'm gonna get I'm almost going to throw up when I see the super dated graphics and the super non-interactive gameplay. So this, I'm just gonna say in short, this is gonna be a very positive review from me. I'm gonna go into every single detail, basically, but I feel this game is a huge step up from Tekken 8. So we're gonna talk about all of the aspects. We're also gonna get into, I know Aris, super prominent and awesome FGC community member, and Arya, good friend of mine, Bat Blasted Salami. They feel the game is still a little bit too much like Tekken 7. They feel it's Tekken 7.5. Well, this could easily be a Season 5 of Tekken 7, according to them. In my opinion, that could not be more wrong. This is the freshest Tekken has been in 18 years, since the series went from Tekken 4 to Tekken 5 in 2005. To me, this is the freshest this has been in 18 years, and I'm gonna go into the details. But first off, I'm so happy we got to play it. I hope as many of you as possible got to try it. It's very unfortunate that, especially with the PC codes, there seem to be a ton of scalpers stealing hundreds of codes, sometimes selling them for as much as $100 on eBay and various sites, and it's just a gigantic heartbreak. I really tried on my channel to every code. Some chads send codes to me. I gave them away on my stream. A lot of people did that, so thank you so much for that, allowing Tekken fans to play this network test. But I do hope that Bandai Namco do more in the future to safeguard those codes. Make an account registration, a pretty hefty account registration or something on your website, just to make it more difficult for scalpers using bot accounts. Because if it's only an email you need, you know these scalpers are gonna have a goddamn fiesta with this stuff. So that was a mistake. I hope they do better for the beta. But again, I'm so happy we got to play this, and I hope you guys had as much fun as I had. So I'm just gonna start with the graphics, and the graphics to me and the presentation is the best ever seen in a Tekken game. I think it's just gorgeous to look at. Over these 2 weekends, it never stopped for me. Every time I loaded into a match, and I just went, this game is gorgeous. Honestly, I had a moment like that, like every 2 hours while playing, I'm just like, this game just looks so good. And these videos don't do it justice because also this game doesn't work well with compression. If there's if you have a high bitrate, like let's say you stream on Twitch, you stream at 6K, maybe 8K if you're a partner, that works when you're playing Tekken 7, and there's not a whole lot going on the screen. But in Tekken 8, when you hit someone and there are fireworks everywhere, the compression and the bitrate is not enough, and the game looks terrible. So you need to play the game yourself to see how gorgeous it is. You can't look at 6K, 8K bitrate videos from us streamers or on YouTube. It just doesn't make the game justice. But I think the graphics are amazing. Even Street Fighter 6, I think, is just nowhere near as good looking. Street Fighter 6 is incredible when you get the cinematic critical art, the level 3 supers. But outside of that, I find this game to be much better looking than Street Fighter. And then you have MK1, which is going to be the biggest out of these games in terms of sales, for sure. Not in esports, I think. That game is beautiful. And the mocap, the cinematics, you could say it looks better than Tekken 8. But when it's in-game, I find MK1 has nothing on Tekken 8. The graphics are here, the animations are much better, and a 3D camera moving around the map and the stage as the characters fight it's so much more dynamic, I think, to look at. MK1 is more janky, in my opinion. So, in terms of graphics, this does get a 10 out of 10 from me. And I like the effects, but I do recommend everyone to tone down the effects. That's what I did after like one day. Go into the options menu, and then you have the effect saturation. It starts out on high. I took that to normal, or like medium. But you can also set it to low. And I would recommend most people to do that if you think it's too much and too noisy. And to be honest, there's a lot going on there. And then the characters look absolutely amazing. They rebuilt the models. Everyone is so good looking. Everyone is so sexy. Lars looks amazing. I mean, they all just look incredible. Brian's face. It's like, I don't know. It's just so good looking, this game. So very dynamic, characters look great, and the characters talk a lot as they're fighting. Little bit obnoxious if someone plays Asuka, but I loved that. The Kazuya's just constantly talking as he's fighting. They're really pushing character and personality, which is the right way to go. But I would have loved to see more Mortal Kombat style interactions between the characters. They have one special intro, and I'm like, yeah, that's great, but please, can we crank that up for a full version of the game? In MK, I mean, you don't have to match MK, because in that game, everyone has like 50 interactions with each other. But maybe Lars and Jin have 2 intros. I don't know, instead of seeing the same intro over and over. Don't get me wrong! I don't want to be negative. I love the fact that they included this. It's about time. We need to push personality, but do more of these intros. They're great to look at, and they add so much to the characters. And you want to push lore and story as much as you can, even in the gameplay, right? Not only in story mode. And also on that point, I would like to see more intro and win poses. It felt a little bit like in Tekken 7, where everyone had 2 of them, maybe 3. I long for the days like Tekken 4 and 5 where characters had 6 to 7 win poses. That was incredible, you know, and I'd love to see more of that. So, and now we're going to have a negative, and it's the netcode. The netcode is, I think, substantially better than Tekken 7. Long story short, I played against some US players, United States, and I'm in Sweden. And it was actually very playable. Good 4 bars. Would have probably been almost a 5 bar, Tekken 7 5 bar. So definitely felt upgraded. But it has to be said, it's nowhere close to Street Fighter 6. It's just nowhere close. In Street Fighter 6, I played against a guy in New Zealand, a dear viewer of mine, and it was playable. That is just not going to happen with Tekken 8. But this is also where I don't know what can be expected from a 3D game. A game with a 3D environment. I don't know. Are the Tekken developers just being incompetent and lazy? Because when I look at the 2D games, it doesn't matter how small the studio is. The 2D fighting game studio. They all seem to be able to give you flawless rollback super netcode. But is that viable in a 3D game? So that got me thinking, those of you who play Counter-Strike, I've played a lot of Dota, those games, also 3D, are you guys able to play Sweden to New Zealand? Are you sitting in Poland playing Counter-Strike against a guy in Japan and it's flawless? Because they also have super 2D Guilty Gear rollback. Or is there something about a 2D fighting game where you can give that super good netcode, but it doesn't work in a 3D engine? Because I'm sure the guys at Valve who make Dota, they make pretty good netcode, right? They know what they're doing? So is this a 3D versus 2D thing? Or is Tekken the only 3D engine game out there with terrible netcode? I just don't know what to expect here, and I would love to hear from an expert in the field, like, oh, you know what, yeah, this is a 2D thing, and no, in Counter-Strike, no, you can't play Poland versus Japan. That's impossible, because we can't implement that type of netcode in a game like Counter-Strike. You can do it in a 2D fighter, so I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about this, so... I would love to hear from an expert in the field, like if he thinks, no, Murray and Harada are being lazy, they could do so much more. So that would be interesting. We finally have crossplay, and I love it. Oh, and it also has to be mentioned with the netcode that, is this still peer-to-peer? And someone said something awful that, oh, looks like your rank is still saved locally. And that makes me a little bit worried that, oh my god, are we still gonna go without servers and people can plug all day long and people can save scum their rank? Are we still going to do that in Tekken 8? So again, this has not been confirmed, and again, this is very early. Very early. But it's still things we want to not see in the full retail version, to say the least. Crossplay, amazing, worked really well. I hear a lot of people on PC couldn't find any matches, so PC version seemed not terribly optimized. I only played on PlayStation 5, which was flawless, but I did play against PC players, PlayStation players, and Xbox players, and to me it worked really well, and I had a ton of fun. Finally, crossplay, such an amazing thing. Load times were significantly better than during the alpha. Remember, in March, I played the alpha in Lyon, in Paris. And load times scared me a little bit there because they were pretty lengthy. But in this beta, load times were very fast. And we had instant rematch. So, again, that's also something I dread. Booting up Tekken 7 again and suddenly enormous load time, you know, when you're waiting for the first fight, and then you hit rematch and it's a loading screen again. Get ready for the next battle. It's torture. So yeah, load time's incredible. Thought it worked really well. Instant rematch is great. Now I'm going to get into another negative. Soundtracks mean a lot to me. I still listen constantly to the Tekken 5 soundtrack, Tekken 4 soundtrack, and various songs from different other Tekken 7 soundtracks. And I thought, sorry about that. And I thought the soundtrack for Tekken 8 was really, really bad. I know a lot of you even really liked it, but I just cannot lie. I gotta keep it honest. I thought the soundtrack was absolutely dreadful. Even this stage, Sanctum, which is I find visually beautiful, fun to play on, but dun 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 dun. I don't remember how it went, but I had to turn off the music. I just couldn't anymore. And the character select. Wow, 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 yeah, wow, wow. It's just like, it drove me insane. It just drove me insane. And some people dislike the Street Fighter 6 rap during the character select, but I find that music to have so much heart. I did turn off the music here, right? I did, so I'll be able to play that for you guys through the magic powerful edit. The magic of editing, I'll be able to play that track if you haven't heard it. Street Fighter 6 character select. There's a rap played there, and to me that has so much heart. Is it a masterpiece? No, but I still really enjoy it. I still really like it. And it feels like it is about fighting, and it gets me a little bit pumped, to be honest. But then, characters like in Tekken 8, whoa, yeah, whoa, whoa, yeah, whoa, whoa. I feel like Logan Paul or whatever his fucking name is, or is it Jake Paul? He's gonna jump up behind me and promote a new fucking energy drink. Yeah, drink this, buddy, yeah. You know, like YouTuber influencer shit, marketing. Yeah, yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. Drink this. It's only $5. I mean, I don't know if it's only me and I'm too old, but I can't take it. I just can't take it. And then special effects, and here also a lot of people seem to be negative. They feel electric doesn't feel very, it doesn't have that oomph anymore, the sound. And a lot of the sound effects, a lot of people don't like them. I really like the sound effects in Tekken 8. I feel like everything has a really nice impact. It's very juicy. To me, it's very oomphy. I really like it. So that's where I hate the music, but I like the sound effects. Yeah. So that's it, like on the general package and presentation. I really like it. I hope I didn't miss anything here. It does have to be mentioned also, something that made me a little bit nervous is that as I was waiting to get matched with someone, as I was queuing, you know, in warm-up space, that thank God now is sort of a practice mode, that's also 2 thumbs up from me. When someone declined me, So it's like, oh, do you want to fight that guy? And I hit yes, and he declines. Now, just like in Tekken 7, I'm put at low priority. Or my search bugs out, and I have to go back to quick select and reselect my character for the queuing to start again. Just like in Tekken 7. And that's where I'm like, oh no. You fucking don't do that. That shit belongs in the past. I do not want to see garbage, low quality of life stuff like that in the retail version of this game. So I really hope this is just, oh, it's an alpha thing. It's a closed network test thing. You haven't mentioned the first to free. Thank you. I should do that as well. Although I did a video, a pretty lengthy video on the topic. I think you can get away with best of 3, first to 2. You can get away with that in a game like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but you can't in Tekken. You simply cannot with a game this is gonna have like 50 characters in the end. 45 to 50 with 100 attacks each. Because that's the name of the game. That's Tekken. Here's my 10 hit with Kunimitsu. What is this? Wall splat, boom, dead. He won the round. Because you hadn't seen a 10-hit combo before. And he has 90 other attacks, many of them strings, to throw your way. In a game like that, you simply do not play first to 2. You do not. You need to allow opponents time to get to know these characters, because some of them are exceptionally rare. I mean, if they keep it in, I mean, a character like Kuma is going to be a win button, pretty much, or Ganryu, or Xiaoyu. So I really hope that does not happen. Right, so that's it for the overall package. Now I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty nerd stuff, which are the changes to the gameplay. And this is where I want to stress that this is the freshest the game has been in 18 years, and it's certainly not Tekken 7.5. And if you believe it is, that's fine. I just, objectively here, when I look at all of the changes to the gameplay and how big and drastic they are, this is just not Tekken 7. So let's just start from the beginning. Let's see. So, we can start with the movement. Korean backdash, I haven't seen it nerfed like this since Tekken 4. That guy, King, he cannot retreat. He has to do a Jaguar dash, where he can't block while he does that. Korean backdash was always the safer way of retreating, because you have block frames during it. You can block for the majority of it, especially if you're really good technically at Korean backdashing. King can't Korean backdash. That's a pretty big deal. Jix. I was gonna say Jack, but oh no, sorry guys, I spoiled the DLC. Jack's robot brother, Jix. And he's even stronger than Jack. No, but Jack, I had a Joe Biden moment. I have too many of them these days. Maybe I should see a doctor. This is scary. But so Jack has still a very strong backdash, just like in Tekken 7, I almost said 8. But a lot of characters have gimped backdashes. Kazuya's is certainly weaker than in Tekken 7, and the majority of characters have a much smaller backdash. That is really huge, and this is to push aggressive play. As you've all heard, you know, a lot of people say this is a masher's paradise. It's the Garden of Eden for mashers. I'm going to explain to you how this is not the case as well. Not the case. Defensive play is going to be rewarded greatly. But so, in terms of defensive play, you no longer can retreat easily with a Korean backdash. That's pretty huge. So what are they doing with movement? They're pushing 3-dimensional movement. They want you to be aggressive and stay close. Don't retreat. But what they did give you is a huge sidestep. That's much stronger than the one in 7. It's very juicy in Tekken 8. So they're pushing movement in depth more. They want you to move 3-dimensionally. This is Tekken, not Street Fighter. Don't back away. Move 3-dimensionally. Right. And this is where you feel like, okay, you want to push aggression, but what happens when characters have really big sidesteps is that, and this is something I did a lot with Paul, for example, in Ranked, or, well, any character I played. If someone tries to mash you, you sidestep very easily their mash string. And now if you have a strong launcher, like a strong down for 2 hop kick or my electric, you launch them into a combo. Into a Tekken 8 combo. That's literally never ending and gigantic damage, and you always get to wall. How is that a super defensive... No, sorry, a super aggressive game? You try and poke someone, like, aggressive pokes, and they get one big sidestep on you, which is very easy in this game considering how strong the sidestep is. And now big launcher into a Tekken 8 combo. This game rewards launchers a ton, and you have a huge sidestep. So I don't know if I buy entirely that this is going to be a masher's paradise, because it certainly didn't look like it to me. And they've nerfed jumps. Jumps are much slower, so neutral hop kick, not very strong anymore. They removed fast counter hit launchers, like Magic Force or King Back 1. They're still sort of there, but they have to commit a lot now to something that's very unsafe. So this is also a really big deal. That nerfs your defensive options, right? That's what we're doing with the backdash. You can't retreat easily. You gotta sidestep. You can't just throw Magic Force all the time to deter people from poking. And what they also did was that they weakened low parries greatly. Low parries are so strong in Tekken 7 because they allow a bound. They just don't allow bounds anymore. So lows are much more powerful in Tekken 8, leading to, yeah, it's easier to be aggressive. In Tekken 7, it's hard to be aggressive when someone can low parry your lows and someone can magic for you. It's hard. And we have a strong sidestep. Another gigantic change, and this is where there are some misconceptions that even I bought into. So I'm uploading Tekken 8 King Breakdown with a mistake, but I'm going to point out in the commentary section that throws are not guaranteed on counter hit. So that's a misconception with this game. But they have changed the throw system in that if you countered someone with a throw, so let's say Akazuya is doing a slow attack against my king, he commits to forward 3, which is 20 frames. And I do my giant swing, which is 10 frames. When I throw him now on his startup, he will be able to break this throw, but it's almost unbreakable because the break window on counter hit is reduced to almost nothing. Almost nothing, to the point where a lot of top players felt like, and even me too, I was like, no, if I get counter hit by a throw, it's unbreakable. I couldn't break them. But no, this was tested. You can still break them, but you'll never do it on reaction because the break window is so small. You almost have to anticipate that, oh, that king is going to do a giant swing now, so I'm mashing 1 during my attack. Otherwise, you won't break the throw. So this is a pretty absurd change. There's never been anything like it in Tekken, and this one has me a bit worried. Because that's a 10 frame now counter hit for King, for example. A 10 frame. Like, boom, giant swing, you couldn't break it. Into the wall you go for 70 damage. Like, King's throws are already so strong. So strong. And Jack's throws, does he really need them to be almost unbreakable on counter hit? And dear lord, if they add Marduk to this game, like his throws already in 7 are a nightmare to deal with. And now, his 1-2 throw counter hit you. You got launched now. You got launched for 75 damage. I'm just like, I don't know, is this gonna carry over into his tackle? Oh, you pressed, so it's unbreakable now. I don't know how to feel about this. It's a monumental change. There's never been anything like it, and with certain characters, it's gonna be pretty absurd, I think. So I'm very 50-50 on it. And I know you guys are either positive or 50-50 like me, but if they do release a DLC Marduk, you're probably gonna be very negative about this, is my guess. That's my 50 cents on that one. Instant while running has been made super easy. Super easy. Used to be very strict, and now you just press forward, forward, forward attack, and you get Dragonov while running 2, Claudio while running 2, Shining Wizard. Enormous change. Completely changes the pressure of this game. Because now you also have access to slash kick, right? While running free, like +7 on block. Or +9 if you're Steve or whatever. So that's a big game changer. Pressure with huge frames up close, and it's gonna be kind of brain dead easy. So it does change pressure quite a bit and how we play. And it's a true game changer for Claudio and eventually Dragonov when he's released. And King, Armor King. You can insert a lot of characters here. But now we're going to talk about a really, really big one. These are already massive changes, but now we're going to get into Heat, which is completely changes the game and is unbelievably complicated. To the point where I'm not certain after one alpha test and 2 weekends with this game, I'm not certain what the optimal usage is of Heat. There is so much that goes into it. But something very interesting and that I underestimated for the longest time was the health regeneration Heat gives you. If you save, you know what we all did? We felt like, oh, Heat, I just go into Heat and I chip my opponent to death with Hwoarang or any other character, or I get access to an absurd 50-50. Round start, Heat burst, plus frames on block, oh, 50-50, ha, take this. But then I realized when I ran into more solid players that so many of them were doing, they play without Heat, and then when they're low on health, have a lot of recoverable health, they blow the Heat. And suddenly I was just amazed at how much HP they could recover, extending their health bar greatly, greatly. And suddenly the combo damage didn't seem as absurd anymore, when they could regain so much health. So that's something that has been overlooked, I think. And also, Heat engagers, if you have a lot of recoverable health, and you land a Heat engager, the damage dealt to your opponent, you regain. So a Heat engager, when you have recoverable health, I realized it actually does double damage. Again, like with Kazuya, I have recoverable health, I do damage 1-2. My opponent took 32 damage, and I recovered 32 health. Like literally double damage. And then Heat engagers are very complicated. Heat burst, you can go into plus frames, or you can do Heat burst into nothing. You can cancel it. Heat smash is, and again, this is also interesting, by the way. Heat smash has been advertised as the new rage drive, right? But with certain characters, it felt really good. With certain characters, it felt a bit underwhelming. Like with Kazuya, I'm like, why am I gonna blow my my Heat on this when I can just do a double hell sweep? And sort of accomplish the same thing. Granted, I take a bigger risk doing the double hell sweep into Heaven's Gate. Whereas if I go with his Heat smash, in the end, I think it wasn't even -15. It's like -14. It's a safe-ish hell sweep with more tracking. But I wanted to stay in Heat, so I don't do that. But what is very interesting, actually, is that when you do one of your Heat engagers into a dash, you know, on block, that's +5. So like, and if it hits, it's a launcher, right? So that to me almost felt like, okay, I have access to almost 6 different rage drives in a way. Because when I do those Heat engagers into dash, if they hit, they launch, or give a special knockdown into follow-up, a mini juggle. Or if they block them, I'm +5. So it's almost like you had 5 to 6 different rage drives in a way, to me. Because they sort of accomplished the same thing as rage drives in Tekken 7, if you get what I'm saying. Plus frames on block, launch on hit. And then you have a heat smash that in many instances felt unsafe. So it's very interesting to me. And a lot can be said about that. And heat engagers are unbelievably plus. They're like plus 15 on hit. And heat, obviously, it's almost like those of you who are really old like me remember a game like Bloody Roar, where you go, rah, you have a meter, and then you go, rah, and then for a set of time, your character is transformed into a beast, into a monster with different properties on the attacks and even new attacks. And that's exactly how it is in Tekken 8. And it's, again, very, very complicated because the characters do very different things when they are in heat. If you want to hear about really interesting stuff, like Lily, you do want to stay in heat, right? Due to the chip damage and due to the new properties. You know, you're in a hyper mode, you're a super Saiyajin. Did you know Lily, if she does her special rabbit step or whatever it's called, where she jumps to the side while doing a 360, very evasive, when she does that, she regains heat. Like, whoop, it goes green a little bit. Green, green, and you can just mash that. So she can just stay, if she wants to, in heat while doing her super evasive stepping. And King, you know, every time he lands a big throw, he gets heat back. So it's very interesting stuff. And with Jack, they're pushing a Goliath, or was it the Golem mix-up with Gigas, where, you know, you block a high, well, you take a ton of damage. He gets a free heat smash. Or he has a mid that's plus. And it just takes you back to Tekken 7 Gigas. It seems like Jack now is a hybrid of Gigas and Jack, which I really disliked at first. But when I played Jack myself, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, they've actually... I dislike this, but they have actually given Jack a little bit more identity here, I feel. So I grew to like that as much as I disliked it at first. And another very big heat thing, not exclusive to heat obviously, it's the chip damage. We've never had chip in Tekken before, and it just completely changes the game. Say no more, right? When you're playing Claudio, you can kill your opponent if he simply blocks for 4 seconds. Because you have an attack that does like 25 on block. You can... you have to hear this again. If you're playing Claudio and your opponent blocks for 4 seconds, you can reduce his entire health bar. Isn't that such an absurd thing? It's so absurd. But it remains to be seen like how balanced chip is going to be. And if you had the unfortunate event, you know, you played against a Hwoarang in the closed network test, you've seen how unbelievably obnoxious this can be. When he does his flappy kicks, ha 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 ha, and your health bar just melts. So chip is in there, completely changes how we play Tekken, and it remains to be seen how balanced it is. A lot of people want it removed. I do not, because it is so new, it's so fresh, and it just changes Tekken so greatly. But that's why I'm saying I don't want to play Tekken 7 again. I want to play a new game. And then it's fascinating to me to hear people say, well, this is Tekken 7.5, but remove heat. I don't recognize the game anymore. I don't recognize Tekken. Why is heat there? Why is chip damage there? I mean, this is Tekken 7.5. But why the fuck is chip in Tekken? And I'm like, but you're saying two different things here, in my opinion. But so I like chip. It's so crazy, it's so fresh, it's so new. Bring it on. But it might need some tuning, to say the least. And again, health regen is a huge deal. Heat is very complicated, is what I'm trying to say with many words here. It's very complicated, and it's going to take a long time to figure out how to optimally use it on each and every character. It's very easy to say, like a lot of people say, oh, it's just a mashing a 50-50. Go into heat, mash mid, mash high, 50-50. Certain characters are going to do that, but a lot of characters won't. And also, is that optimal? Or is it more optimal to try and go for a comeback heat moment where you regain a ton of health? Because that, to me, seemed very powerful. So, yeah, we'll see. So, another positive is massive character overhaul. I've never seen an overhaul like this. And again, I want to stress that with this game, they really wanted characters to feel new. My character, Kazuya, has remained forward 3, electric, down 2 since Tekken Tag 1. Since Tekken Tag 1, Kazuya has been, is it a hell sweep? Or is it a twin piston? Or is he doing a demon god feast? So again, since 2001, well, technically since Tekken 2, if you want to be really anal about this. Since for as long as I've been alive, that's been the character. And especially since like Tekken 5. Waifu 50-50, right? And with every new game, Tekken 6, Tag 2, Tekken 5 DR, Tekken 7, they add a few attacks. A few attacks that don't really do too much. A big one was in 7, where he got the Devil Steel Pedal. I mean, that's the one new move you use all the time. But what do they do in this game? What do they do in Tekken 8? They add a gigantic amount of attacks and change quite a bit of animations on every single character. Never seen anything like this. And I've been you know how long I've been a fan of Tekken, since Tekken 1. I've never seen a character overhaul like Tekken 7 to Tekken 8. The characters are not unrecognizable, but dear lord how much they've changed. You know how much new juicy stuff Kazuya has. That gives you so many more options when you play him. Jin, I don't know how many new attacks. I just lost count going through them. Jack, King, Brian has an install now. They reworked the taunt. So many new attacks. I have to say that this is one of the most positive things for me. How much they actually changed up the characters to make them feel fresh. And again, there's no game like it in Tekken history to do this. And especially Heat also adds a lot to this, as you could as you would expect. And then we have massive changes to the Oki. You can no longer get counter hit launched by a get up free kick. Get up 4 kicks are now safe and do not knock down. Kip ups do not knock down. It's also easier to pick up the opponent when he does a back roll. He's lying on the ground and holds back to stand up. There's now more of a float. So they, oh sorry, I hope I didn't say nerfed. They've nerfed your Oki options, but they buffed Oki for the aggressor. When you're knocked down now, you are in a bad position. You are in a bad position. So Oki has changed greatly. And we have, in terms of combo extensions, we have access to what in the end turns into a triple bound. Gigantic combos. Gigantic combos. So any launcher now, you have access to the backflip bound, but that's the normal standard bound. And then you have access to the heat burst bound, which bounds them again. And when you are in heat, you obviously do an attack, a heat engager, into dash, and now the opponent is bounded again. Essentially turning into triple bound combos. Gigantic combos, which in my opinion are too long. It takes you back to tag 2. It's like this duality, double-edged sword, where when you launch someone in this game, oh, feels great. Take this bound and this one. Did I just wall to wall on this gigantic stage? I sure did. Felt great. But boy, oh boy, does not feel good when I get launched. And it just never ends. It never ends. And I don't like that. It takes me back to tag 2. But that's also what I want to stress. Takes me back a little bit to tag 2. And Tag 2 was a defensive game. Do you know why JDCR was on top of that game? Because the movement was so good. Step block, or sidewalking and sidestepping in general. And then all you wanted was having great movement. And JDCR happens to have the best movement in the world. And who does he main? Oh, he means Heihachi, who has electric. And when you have a combination of electric and super good movement, holy hell. So that's why, as much as we want to push aggressive game with this, you still have a tag 2 effect of super big sidestep into strong launcher into a triple bound combo. So I'm still saying, like, yeah, are they favoring aggression a lot in this game? Absolutely. But if you try to poke in this game, like, oh, 10 damage, 15 damage there, 15 damage there, oh, look at my clean ass poking, yeah, oh, 10 damage there, yeah, but all your opponent needs is one, again, strong sidestep in this game, one step on one of your pokes, Doria! Triple bound into the goddamn wall into take my heat mix up. So in a way, like, there is stuff there for defensive play as well. So it's not as simple as saying it's an aggressive heaven, right? And then we have explosion wall splat. So this is on the military base stage where you knock them into an explosion, kaboom. Feels a bit fresh, but it's not too different from what we've had before. And then we have hard wall break, which is on Sanctum, where there's... I dropped my paper. Where there's that one specific wall, you know, where you death fist them into it. And then they get splatted. And then you death fist again, and now it breaks the wall. So yeah, it's different, you know, you can do some crazy stuff with that, but it's again like just gigantic combos, basically. That's gonna hurt a lot with certain characters. Right, and quite a few characters now have an install. So that's where your character goes, not heat, but even without heat, they can do something to buff themselves, to get access to new attacks or just amped up attacks, like stronger attacks. This used to be a Starburst Claudio thing, but now Brian has Snake Eyes and Asuka has Bokeh. Bokeh stands Bokeh! With that ear-shattering voice. So this is really cool. I really, really liked it with Brian. Oh god, did I like it, and did it add depth to Brian. And that's a character that already has a lot of depth, so more of that. I love it. Installs are really cool. Chicken is gone. So this is torture when you go up against Asuka and June. So what does this mean? It's that classic thing where if they do a legacy counter parry back to 4, and they catch your attack and it turns into that throw sequence where you take like 35 damage, classic counter. You used to be able to mash forward 2-4 or forward 1-3 and your character would go, you would hear the announcer go, chicken, and you'd hit them out of it like, no, you can't counter me. Super slick, super cool, very rare to see it used, but that was completely removed. It's gone. But, so, I think what they did, though, was that they made... Again, this is nothing I tested myself, but word on the street is that these legacy counters and parries, like June and Asuka, they have reduced actual frames, active parry frames. So they have a longer startup and a longer wind down. So active counter frames have been reduced. So also going in line with reducing defensive ability, and I guess making those harder to use, because they are kind of brain dead. But this has to be tested again, but word on the street is that that's how it goes. Ultimate Tackle has been removed. I think this was, and this is again like Ultimate Tackle, and this is, you know, where this is not the big run-in shoulder that has a power crush effect. This is where, you know, you ran a couple of steps, and then your MMA style, your character will drop onto the opponent and go poof, 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 poof. And I always wondered, why didn't this kill Lucky Chloe when I played King? Seriously, 147 kilograms of juiced up manhood just going boof on Lucky Chloe. Shouldn't that just instantly KO? I would love to see that. Yeah, you fall on top of them and then you can do 1, 2, you know, and certain characters have arm bars and stuff. And that's just gone. Certain characters still have, you can, as a special move, you can crouch into an ultimate tackle. But for all of a character, that's not a universal mechanic anymore. So now when you run in, your character just stops. So that's gone. And I think that was seen as too much of a tempo pacing breaker in matches. But it's gone. And it felt so weird having it gone, but I kind of like it. And also, if you want to trigger the Power Crush tackle, you really have to run full screen now for it to activate. Full screen. I think I saw it once. During 2 weekends of playing this game, I think I saw it once. And they have removed execution on a lot of stuff, but they have given execution rewards on a lot of stuff to the point where I'm just like, this is so awesome. This is so cool. So like, for example, you know, they made instant while running easier, but if you do a super fast Shining Wizard, point blank, like experts would do it, and I really mean it now, super fast, forward, immediately, it will blue spark and do 5 more damage, and it will have a cool blue spark effect, and you'll hear a crowd go, yeah! And if you do a super fast giant swing, again, super fast, it blue sparks, does considerably more damage, gets a very cinematic camera, and again you hear a crowd go, whoa! And same for Tijuana Twister, super cool for King. Super cool, love that. And then for Jack, they gave him an easy mode debug, down forward 1-4, but it's seeable and does less damage. If you do the old school debug, which is harder, right? It's you slide from back to down forward 1, more damage and very hard to react to, or downright unseeable. I love that stuff. And then it's like, you know, a lot of people felt that how dare they make Kazuya's no execution in Kazuya's electric no execution when he's devil. Why is it assisted? Why does every win Godfist turn into an electric? Well, here's a really neat thing about that. First off, the visuals are not the same. Granted, it's not as fast, right? If you do a win Godfist fake electric. If you do a fake electric as devil, it's not as fast. But also it looks different. You can tell them apart. If you do a fake electric, you only get the Tekken 7 classic effect sparks. Bzzz. When you do a real electric with the real proper execution when you're devil, you'll have the old school effect plus the new effect. It has a double effect. But also, when you do the assist electric, the fake electric, it eats up on your heat bar. Oh, you need help with this? Pfft, less heat. But when you do a real electric, no heat consumption. Thought that was pretty neat. I thought that was pretty cool. But so there's a lot of this spread through the game, where they've added more blue sparks, some more execution to stuff. But also, do we have awful examples of this, where martial law has lost every single trace of execution he had, and his skill ceiling is completely gone. They caved it in. Gone. Player expression, much less. Half of it. That's absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. And this is where I actually hope they not revert it, but change this. Please change it so that when martial law OG players, when they do the old school DSS and they do it quickly, they get a blue spark enhanced attack. Please do that. Do what you did for King. You can have an easy DSS, just hold forward. But reward the guys for back, forward. That heavy execution. Reward them with a big blue spark attack. Because what you've done now is that You've made it piss easy by holding forward, and then you get rewarded with a blue spark for pressing the 4 button within a free frame window. There's no skill to that. I'm sorry, but I hate that. Hate that. And then in terms of balancing, I feel like they've buffed everyone. They've done, when we went from Tag 2 to Tekken 7, the characters, they just buffed everyone's attacks. Gigantic hitboxes, super homing, everything's a counter hit launcher. And I feel like that's what they've done again. They've just buffed everyone greatly. Certain characters not so much, like Lars. But Jin is just... It's just insane. And Claudio. I'm gonna hit record again here because I missed talking about something very, very important. And it's really, really dumb. And it's this. The rage charts are way, 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 way overtuned in this game. It's actually ridiculous. Like, you don't understand how strong they are. You probably have no clue how strong they are. And I'm gonna try and explain it. This is the biggest weak point for me right now. Rage charts are too strong in Tekken 7. If you have low health when you hit one, you can do up to 45%. While having hyper armor, 50% reduction on attacks you absorb on your startup. They're ridiculous. And in Tekken 8, like, boy oh boy, what did they do? First off, it's very generous now with your health bar. You have a ton of health left and you go into rage. At like 40% it feels like, or 35. They're always there. And then they unblock now. When you block one of them, there's a huge guard impact where you go, ugh! So it's hard to find the timing of when you input your punish, and it's only -15. So I even saw people using easier characters like down forward 2 hop kick. They dropped them once in a while. But if you're not playing a down forward 2 or hop kick character, you're playing Kazuya like me, I more often dropped that punish when I landed that electric. Because I have to electric to get a good punish. And it was so hard to do. So hard to do. You have to wait out that huge guard impact. Like, wait, when do I start? Now. And then I drop it because I have to execute a very good electric to get that launch. It's ridiculous. And what more did they put in for rage arts? Well, you know how when you do a rage art on startup in Tekken 7, and let's say a Kazuya is doing 1-2-2 on you, on your startup. You know how it stutters when you absorb attacks in 7? Like, you would eat for 1-2-2. 1-2-2, and then because the hyper armor absorbs and slows down the rage art. 1-2-2, and then your rage art comes out. They removed that for 8. So now, if you do a string like that, you'll eat the jab, and then you get rage arted. So they improved the armor. There's no stagger anymore. And then what else did they do? Well, when you land a rage art now, you recover your recoverable health. Wait, he didn't recover it? I don't know why he didn't recover that. When I played the network test, you recover your recoverable health. Maybe. Oh, this is old footage. So I'm so sorry. This is old footage. My bad. You actually recover your recoverable health, and your opponent loses his recoverable health. Does any of this sound even remotely balanced to anyone? Oh, it did half-life. I got 20% of my health back. That adds up to like 70% in total. It's -15 on block, with a gigantic guard impact, making the timing of a punish super hard. And the hyper armor has been buffed. And it recovers faster on whiff. Yeah, they definitely weren't strong enough in 7. This is one of the biggest balance problems right now. Rage charts are way, way too spammable. And if you play against a Mishima player, like, that's a big thing, actually. Just throw your rage chart out. Throw it out. Like, or against a Kazi, I guess. Just throw it out. Even a jet upper with Brian, you can drop that. So yeah, I did want to add that. big minus on this one. Big minus. Hoping they look into that. So, those were my thoughts. I'm very positive about this. It seems really great. It seems like it's gonna be the best Tekken so far. It has to be said that I had so much fun, but after a while I felt like, oh god, I just want to play with my friends now. Right? I want to do player matches. I don't want to play with randoms and ranked. Tekken 8 is amazing, but I want to play player matches. I want to do tournaments. I want to see what story mode looks like. I want customization. But even without all of that, that treasure chest of content, it still felt so amazing and so fresh. So I gotta say, I'm so happy with Tekken 8. I'm so happy with it. It feels so positive. And I know certain people are upset about balancing, but I feel like it's too early to talk about it, even though I'm going to record a tier list just for fun on this, just to give an idea of where everyone is. But they're probably gonna change a lot for the beta and then the full release of the game. But I'm very positive, very positive. And I do want to stress again that when you look at everything that has happened, this is the freshest Tekken has been in 18 years. It goes for the gameplay, it goes for the graphics, and I'm sure it's going to go for the content we get as well. That one is a little bit copium, crossing my fingers, but I'm hoping that is the case. But so that's going to be the conclusion of my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a lovely day. Take care.